Layla Hayes, what the hell did I tell you about sitting there? The white woman stormed across the cafeteria. Her heels clicked like gunshots on the tile floor. Mrs. Hargrove, I'm sorry. Sorry? You think sorry cuts it? The woman grabbed the girl's arm, twisted it hard. These tables are for real families who pay real money, not charity cases like you. She yanked the girl out of her seat. The lunch tray crashed to the floor. Food splattered everywhere. Laughter erupted from nearby tables. Please, my dad pays the same. Your dad? The woman shoved her toward the corner. Your daddy is probably some welfare leech who lied on your application. Now get back there with the rest of the diversity hires before I have you expelled. A man appeared in the doorway, brown paper bag dangling from frozen fingers. His mouth opened. No sound came out. He watched his daughter stumble toward a dark corner, head down, shoulders shaking. Have you ever discovered your child was living a nightmare you knew nothing about? Terrence Hayes sat in his office in Washington, D.C. Papers covered every surface of his desk. Budget reports, reform proposals, investigation files. The brass nameplate on his door read simple words: Secretary of Education, United States Department of Education. In this position of long days, trying to fix a broken system from the top down. His phone buzzed. A reminder popped up on the screen. Layla's birthday. Terrence leaned back in his leather chair. When did his daughter turn that age? When did he last have breakfast with her? He scrolled through his messages. Layla's texts were always the same. Short, cheerful. School's good, Dad. Don't worry about me. Focus on your work. His assistant knocked on the door. Sir, the conference call with the governor starts soon. Terrence stared at the reminder on his phone. Layla's smiling face looked back at him from his lock screen. That photo was from her first day at Crestwood Academy. She wore her new uniform. Pride radiated from her eyes. He'd chosen Crestwood carefully. Best private school in the state. Worth every penny for the inclusive, progressive environment they promised. Their brochure showed diverse students laughing together, learning together, thriving together. Layla deserved that. After her mother died, Layla deserved every good thing this world could offer. Cancel the call, Terrence said suddenly. His assistant blinked. Sir? Cancel it. Reschedule for later. He grabbed his coat. I'm going to see my daughter. The drive from D.C. to Crestwood filled his mind with thoughts. Terrence spent the first part on calls, policy discussions, budget negotiations, the usual chaos. Then he turned off his phone, rolled down the windows, let the spring air fill the car. He thought about Layla's voice on their last call. She'd sounded tired, distant. When he asked if everything was okay, she said yes, always yes. But something in her tone made him pause. A hesitation, a catch in her breath. He'd let it go. Told himself she was probably just exhausted from schoolwork, from adjusting to a new environment. Now that hesitation gnawed at him. Terrence pulled into a deli near the school, the same place he and Layla used to go before her mother passed, their special spot. He ordered 2 sandwiches, turkey and Swiss, extra pickles, Layla's favorite. The woman behind the counter smiled. Haven't seen you in a while. Work, Terrence said. Too much work. She'll be happy to see you. He'd been so absent lately, so consumed by his mission to reform education nationwide, so focused on helping millions of children he barely knew, he'd forgotten to show up for the one child who mattered most. Terrence parked in the visitor lot at Crestwood Academy. The building rose before him like a monument to wealth. Stone columns, manicured lawns, a fountain in the center courtyard. He walked to the front office, showed his ID, not his federal credentials, just his driver's license. Terrence Hayes, Layla's father, regular parent. The secretary barely looked up. Sign in here? Visitor badge? You know where the cafeteria is? Yes, thank you. She handed him a sticker badge, generic yellow. Visitor printed in bold letters. Terrence walked through the halls, marble floors, dark wood panels. Photos of distinguished alumni lined the walls, all white faces, century after century of privilege, staring down at him. He pushed the thought away. This was a good school. They'd accepted Layla. They'd promised an opportunity, equality, excellence. The cafeteria doors appeared ahead. Sounds of laughter and conversation drifted through. Normal, happy, safe. Terrence smiled. He'd surprise Layla. They'd eat lunch together. Maybe he'd take her out early. Spend the afternoon together, make up for lost time. He adjusted the paper bag in his hand, pushed open the door, and saw his daughter's face crumple as a white woman grabbed her arm. Saw her stumble, saw milk hit the floor, saw tears streak down her cheeks, heard the words, scholarship trash, diversity quota. You people. The bag slipped from his fingers, hit the ground with a soft thud nobody else heard because everyone was watching Layla, watching her humiliation. Some laughing, some recording on their phones. Some just staring, silent, complicit. Terrence couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't process what his eyes were showing him. This was the school he'd chosen, the school he'd trusted, the school he paid full tuition to keep his daughter safe. Terrence stood paralyzed. His brain struggled to connect what he saw with where he was. This couldn't be Crestwood Academy. The school with the glossy brochures, the diversity awards on their website, the testimonials from happy families, this couldn't be real. Layla picked herself up from the floor. Milk soaked into her uniform. The white woman towered over her, arms crossed, face twisted with disgust. Clean that up now. Yes, Mrs. Hargrove. Layla knelt, started gathering pieces of her lunch tray. Her hands shook. Other students walked past, stepped over her. Some laughed. One kicked a piece of bread further away. Terrence's feet moved forward, then stopped. Wait. Look. Understand what's happening here. He stepped to the side, positioned himself behind a support column, pulled out his phone, started recording. The cafeteria layout revealed itself slowly like a curtain, pulling back on a stage. Center tables, large cushioned chairs, good lighting from the tall windows. Students sat there laughing, eating, relaxed. every single one of them white. Far corner near the kitchen entrance, near the trash bins and the loading dock door. Hard wooden benches, fluorescent lights that buzzed and flickered. Students, all black or Latino, heads down, eating quickly, trying to be invisible. A wall ran down the invisible middle of the room. Not physical, but absolutely. Terrence's chest tightened. How did he not know? How did he not see? Layla finished cleaning. She carried her ruined lunch toward the corner section, toward the shadows. A group of white girls stood up as she approached. The one in front crossed her arms. Brooke Hargrove. He recognized her from parent orientation. Patricia Hargrove's granddaughter. "Watch where you're going, scholarship girl." "Sorry, I just need to..." "You just need to remember your place." Brooke shoved Layla's shoulder. "My grandmother runs this cafeteria. She says you people should eat outside with the garbage." Laughter rippled through nearby tables. Phones came out, started recording. This was entertainment. Layla kept her head down, moved past them, sat at the end of a bench alone. Even the other students of color kept their distance, like her humiliation might be contagious. Terrence's finger pressed harder on the record button. His other hand gripped the column, knuckles white. A young teacher walked past Layla. Mid-20s Latina. She glanced at Layla's tear-stained face. Her eyes held something. Sympathy? Guilt? She kept walking. Another teacher, older white man with gray hair. He stood from where Brooke had shoved Layla. He'd seen everything, done nothing. Now he chatted with other teachers, laughed at something someone said. The system wasn't broken here. It was working exactly as designed. Patricia Hargrove emerged from the kitchen area. She surveyed her domain like a general inspecting troops. Her gaze swept across the center tables, nodded with satisfaction, then landed on the corner. She marched over. Her sensible shoes struck the floor with authority. Layla Hayes. Layla jumped, looked up. "Yes, ma'am." "Did you try to sit at a premium table again? I just thought maybe..." "You thought wrong." Patricia grabbed the girl's chin, forced her to look up. "How many times do I have to explain this? Those tables are reserved for families who contribute. Real families, not affirmative action cases. My dad pays the same tuition as..." The slap echoed through the cafeteria. Not hard enough to leave a mark, but hard enough to sting. Hard enough to shock. Hard enough to establish dominance. Conversation stopped. Students turned to watch. Patricia leaned down, her face inches from Layla's. "Don't you dare talk back to me. Your kind gets in here through quotas, through pity. You want to sit at the good tables? Tell your daddy to donate a building. Until then, you eat where I tell you to eat." Layla's bottom lip trembled. She bit down on it, trying not to cry again, trying to hold together whatever dignity she had left. Terrence's vision blurred. Red crept in from the edges. His daughter, his baby girl, taking abuse from this woman. He started forward, stopped himself again. "No. Get it all. Make sure there's no doubt. No way for them to deny it. No way for them to explain it away." A Latino boy raised his hand at a nearby table. "Mrs. Hargrove, may I get more water?" Patricia didn't even look at him. "You had your chance during your designated refill time. Sit down." "But I'm really thirsty. I have soccer practice after." "I said sit down." Patricia's voice cracked like a whip. You diversity students get 1 water refill. 1. If you can't manage that, bring water from home. The boy lowered his hand, sat back down, defeated. Terrence watched a white student get up, walk to the water fountain, fill his bottle, walk back. Nobody said a word to him. Then another white student did the same thing. Then another. The rules weren't rules, they were weapons applied selectively, designed to remind certain students they didn't belong. A black girl stood up with her empty tray, started walking toward the trash bins near the center tables, the shortest path. Patricia materialized in front of her like a security guard. Where do you think you're going? To throw away my trash? Ma'am, not through here. You're not. Scholarship students use the bins by the back door. But that's all the way. Did I stutter? Patricia pointed. Back door. Now before I write you up for insubordination. The girl turned around, walked the long way, past the kitchen, past the loading dock, to throw away trash in a bin that was far from where she started. Terrence's phone captured the footage of systematic, deliberate, cruel discrimination. And Layla sat through this every single day. How long had this been going on? She started at Crestwood in the fall. It was now spring. Of eating lunch in a corner. Of being shoved. Of being slapped. Of being reminded she didn't belong. Of coming home and saying, "School's good, Dad." Of protecting him from the truth. His baby girl, his brave, beautiful baby girl, carrying this weight alone because she didn't want to burden him, didn't want to distract him from his important work. What kind of father was he? Patricia walked back to the center of the cafeteria. She clapped her hands twice, sharp, commanding. Attention, attention, everyone. Students quieted down, all eyes on her. I want to remind you all of the cafeteria standards at Crestwood Academy. This is an institution built on excellence, built by families who value quality, who value tradition. She gestured toward the center tables. These families have contributed millions to make this school great. They deserve premium treatment. She turned, pointed directly at the corner, at Layla, at the other students of color. And these students, they're here because the government forces us to hit diversity numbers, because we have to check boxes to keep our funding. But make no mistake, there is a hierarchy here. There is an order, and everyone needs to respect it. A few parents sitting at volunteer tables nodded. One woman actually clapped. Patricia's eyes landed on Layla again. Some people don't understand their place. Some people think they can just sit anywhere, do anything, act like they're equal to students whose families actually built this place. She walked over, stood directly over Layla. But they're not equal, are they, Layla? Layla stared at her lap, silent. I asked you a question. Are you equal to the real Crestwood students? No, ma'am. The words came out broken, barely audible. Louder so everyone can hear. No, ma'am. Tears dripped onto Layla's skirt. That's right. You're not. And you never will be. Patricia straightened up, smiled, satisfied with her lesson. She turned and walked back toward the kitchen. Terrence's hands shook. The phone nearly slipped from his grip. Enough evidence, enough observation, enough restraint. He stepped out from behind the column, placed the phone in his jacket pocket, still recording. Audio would capture everything now. He walked across the cafeteria. His footsteps seemed impossibly loud. Students turned to look. Conversations faltered. Something in his expression made people nervous. He reached Layla's table, placed his hand gently on her shoulder. She looked up. Her eyes went wide. "Dad." Her face transformed. Relief crashed into terror. Happy he was here. Terrified of what it meant. "Hi, baby." His voice stayed calm, controlled. "I brought you lunch." Patricia noticed him now, turned, walked back over. Her expression shifted from surprise to annoyance. "And who are you?" Terrence looked at her. "Really?" Looked at her, memorized her face. This woman who hurt his child. This woman was about to learn what justice felt like. "I'm Layla's father, and we need to talk about what you've been doing to my daughter." Patricia's eyes narrowed. She looked Terrence up and down, dismissed him in a single glance. "Your daughter has been repeatedly violating cafeteria protocols. She refuses to follow simple instructions about seating arrangements." "Seating arrangements?" Terrence's voice stayed level. "You mean segregation?" Gasps rippled through nearby tables. The word hung in the air like smoke. Patricia's face flushed red. "How dare you?" "This is about maintaining order, about respecting the families who fund this institution. Your daughter sits where scholarship students sit. That's policy. My daughter isn't on scholarship. I pay full tuition. I've reviewed every file in this cafeteria." Patricia crossed her arms. "Layla Hayes. Diversity admission. Accepted through the Equity Initiative, which means scholarship, which means she follows scholarship rules. Diversity admission doesn't mean scholarship. She earned her spot, and I pay full freight." Patricia laughed, sharp, mocking. "Sure you do. And I'm supposed to believe a man who shows up in a cheap suit and drives an old sedan pays full tuition, please." Layla tugged on Terrence's sleeve. "Dad, let's just go, please." He squeezed her hand. "Not yet, baby." Patricia stepped closer, invaded his space. "Listen to me very carefully. I don't know what story you told admissions. I don't care. But in my cafeteria, there are rules. Premium donors get premium treatment. Your kind gets what's left over. Don't like it? There's the door. My kind." Terrence's jaw tightened. "Oh, don't start with the race card." Patricia rolled her eyes. "I'm talking about income, about contribution, about people who actually matter to this school's success versus people who are here to make us look diverse in the brochures." A white man in a suit approached. Late 50s, gray hair. Principal Victor Langford. Terrence recognized him. Orientation. "Is there a problem here, Patricia? This man is disrupting lunch service, harassing staff, making baseless accusations." Langford turned to Terrence. Didn't ask for his side. Didn't ask what happened, just frowned. "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave campus. I'm asking why my daughter is being segregated and abused." "Segregated?" Langford's voice dripped with condescension. "That's a serious allegation. Do you have any evidence to support such a claim?" Terrence patted his jacket pocket. "Yes, I do." "Let me see it." "No, not yet." Langford's expression hardened. Then I'm afraid you need to leave now before I have security remove you. I have a right to know why my daughter is being mistreated. Your daughter isn't being mistreated. Langford gestured around the cafeteria. She's eating lunch in a safe, clean environment. If you have complaints about seating arrangements, you can schedule a formal meeting with my office, but you will not storm in here during lunch service and cause a scene. Patricia stepped forward again, emboldened by Langford's support. Do you know how many calls I get from parents complaining about diversity students? Dozens. They pay premium prices and don't want their children sitting next to charity cases. We have to balance everyone's needs by making kids eat next to garbage bins. That corner has the same food, the same tables, the same access to education as everywhere else. If your daughter feels excluded, that's a personal problem, not a school problem. Layla started crying harder. Her shoulders shook. Other students stared. Some recorded on phones. This was content, drama, entertainment. Terrence knelt beside his daughter. Baby, look at me. We're gonna fix this. Dad, please. I just want to go home. Patricia's voice cut through. Actually, she's not going anywhere. It's school hours. Students can't leave without proper authorization. Terrence stood. I'm her father. I'm taking her home. Not without filling out an early dismissal form. Not without approval from the administration. Patricia pulled out her phone. In fact, given your hostile behavior, I'm calling security. Hostile behavior? I ask questions about discrimination. You're aggressive, confrontational, your body language is threatening. Patricia spoke into her phone. Security to the cafeteria. We have a potentially dangerous situation. Dangerous? Terrence's voice rose for the first time. I'm standing here talking. Langford held up his hand. Sir, you need to calm down. Your escalating tone is exactly what we're concerned about. My escalating tone? Your staff is segregating children, and you're worried about my tone? 2 security guards arrived, both white, both large. They positioned themselves on either side of Terrence. Mr. Hayes, I'm going to ask you one more time to leave voluntarily. Langford's voice went cold. Professional, practiced. If you refuse, these gentlemen will escort you out, and we will file a no trespass order. A no trespass order for asking why my daughter is being discriminated against? For causing a disturbance? For refusing to follow school protocols? For creating an unsafe environment? Patricia jumped in. And given your aggressive behavior, we'll need to review Layla's enrollment. We can't have parents who threaten staff, who create hostile situations. That violates our code of conduct. Layla grabbed Terrence's arm. Dad, no, please. They'll expel me. Please, just go. I'll be okay. You won't be okay. This isn't okay. I'll deal with it. I have been dealing with it. Please don't make it worse. Terrence's heart shattered. His daughter was begging him to leave her in this nightmare, to walk away, to let it continue, because she was more afraid of being expelled than she was of being abused. Langford nodded to the security guards. Gentlemen, please escort Mr. Hayes off campus. The guards moved in, grabbed Terrence's arms. Not gently, hard enough to bruise. Get your hands off me. Don't resist, sir. This will be easier if you cooperate. Patricia stood back, arms crossed, smiling. You should have known your place. Should have taught your daughter to know hers. But no, you people always think rules don't apply to you. You people. Terrence stopped struggling. Let the words hang there. Say that again slowly. Patricia's smile widened. You people. The ones who get in through quotas, through forced diversity, the ones who don't contribute, who don't belong, who drag down our standards just by being here. The guards pulled Terrence backward toward the exit. Students watched, some laughed. Brooke Hargrove stood with her friends, recording everything. This is going straight to TikTok. Scholarship dad gets owned? Langford walked beside the guards. Mr. Hayes, you are now banned from this campus. Any further attempts to enter will result in immediate arrest for criminal trespass. Additionally, we will be reviewing Layla's enrollment status. Given her family's inability to respect school authority, we may determine this isn't the right fit. Terrence's feet dragged. The guards pulled harder. Layla followed, crying. Please don't expel me. Please, this is the only good school. If I get expelled, my record, Patricia called after them. Maybe you should have thought about that before your father came in here acting like a thug. Actions have consequences, sweetheart. You're about to learn that lesson. They reached the cafeteria exit. The guards shoved Terrence through. Not hard enough to make him fall, but hard enough to humiliate him. Other parents watched from volunteer tables. Some looked uncomfortable. Most looked satisfied. Order restored. Troublemaker removed. Problem solved. Langford stood in the doorway, blocking Layla from following. Miss Hayes, return to your seat. Finish your lunch. We'll discuss your behavioral issues later. But my dad, your father is no longer your concern right now. School policy is your concern. Now go sit down before I add insubordination to the list of problems we're documenting. Layla looked at Terrence. Her eyes pleaded for help, for rescue, for anything. He couldn't give it to her. Not yet. Layla, listen to me. Go back inside. Sit down. Keep your head up. Everything is about to change. I promise you. How? They're kicking you out. They're going to expel me. Trust me, baby. Just hold on. Langford pulled Layla back inside, slammed the door. The lock clicked. Terrence stood in the parking lot. The guards flanked him until he reached his car. You heard the principal. You're not welcome here. Don't come back. Terrence opened his car door, sat down, pulled out his phone. The recording was still running. Clear audio, undeniable evidence. He scrolled through his contacts, made his first call. FBI Civil Rights Division. This is Secretary Terrence Hayes. I need to activate an emergency federal investigation. I have documentation of systematic civil rights violations at a federally funded institution. I need a team at Crestwood Academy. Sir, can you verify your identity? Terrence recited his federal ID number, his authorization code, his direct line to the director. Verified, Mr. Secretary. Dispatching team now. What's the nature of the violations? Racial segregation, systematic discrimination against minor children, hostile environment, federal fund misappropriation, and assault on a federal official. Sir, did you say assault on a federal official? Yes. They put their hands on me, forcibly removed me, all captured on video. I want federal charges filed. Understood, sir. Team is mobilizing. Terrence made his second call, Department of Justice. His third call, Deputy Secretary of Education. His fourth call, White House Counsel. His fifth call, the media. Then he started his car, drove exactly 1 block, parked where he could see the school entrance, and waited. Patricia Hargrove returned to the cafeteria, triumphant, glowing. She clapped her hands twice. Attention. Attention, everyone. Students looked up. Teachers turned. I want you all to witness what happens when people don't respect authority, when they don't know their place. She pointed toward Layla's corner. That girl's father just got permanently banned from this campus, and her enrollment is under review. Let this be a lesson. Crestwood has standards. We don't tolerate troublemakers. Scattered applause from the center tables. Brooke Hargrove whooped. Bye-bye, scholarship girl. Layla sat frozen. Tears streamed down her face, silent now, broken. Patricia walked over, leaned down. Your father should have taught you better. Should have taught you to be grateful for what you have. Now you'll probably lose it all. Such a shame. Principal Langford entered, joined Patricia. They spoke in low tones, both smiling. Crisis averted. Order maintained. Langford pulled out his phone, started typing. I'm drafting the expulsion letter now. Will cite parental misconduct, hostile family environment, threat to campus safety. Make sure it's airtight, Patricia said. I don't want any appeals. I want her gone. Done. I'll have a legal review of it. They high-fived. Actually high-fived. 2 adults celebrating the destruction of a child's future. Outside, a sound grew, distant at first, then louder, rhythmic, mechanical. Students rushed to the windows, pointed at the sky. A helicopter descended toward the athletic field. Black, unmarked, official. Then another sound. Sirens. Multiple vehicles. The parking lot filled with SUVs, dark sedans, lights flashing. Patricia frowned, walked to the window. What on earth? Cars screeched to stops. Doors flew open. Men and women in dark suits emerged, dozens of them. White letters on their backs. FBI DOJ. Is this some kind of drill? Langford's face went pale. More vehicles arrived. Local news vans, cameras, reporters setting up on the lawn. The cafeteria doors burst open. Federal agents entered. Tactical vests, weapons holstered but visible. They moved with military precision, positioned themselves at every exit. An agent in front held up credentials. FBI. Everyone remains calm. Stay seated. This is an official federal investigation. Patricia's mouth fell open. Investigation of what? Who called you? Ma'am, we'll explain shortly. Right now we need Principal Langford and Patricia Hargrove to come with us. Langford stepped forward. I'm Principal Langford. There must be some mistake. We're a private educational institution. We haven't... No mistake, sir. Please come with us to your office now. The agents weren't asking. They were commanding. Patricia and Langford exchanged glances, confused, nervous, but still confident, still believing their authority meant something. They walked toward the main office. Agents surrounded them, flanked them like suspects. The office door opened. More agents inside. They had already secured the space. Computers, files, everything. And sitting in Langford's chair, calm as Sunday morning, was Terrence Hayes. Patricia's eyes went wide. You? How did you— Sit down, Mrs. Hargrove. I will not. Security, get this man out of my— An agent stepped forward. Ma'am, sit down. The command in his voice left no room for argument. Patricia sat. Langford collapsed into the other chair. His hands shook. Terrence stood, reached into his jacket, pulled out a leather credential case. He placed it on the desk, opened it. The federal seal gleamed under the fluorescent lights. United States Department of Education, Office of the Secretary, Terrence Hayes. The words hit like bullets. Patricia's face drained of color, white, then gray. She gripped the armrests of her chair. Secretary? You're the Secretary of Education? Yes. The person who controls every federal dollar that flows into this institution. Langford made a choking sound. His eyes rolled back. He slumped forward. An agent caught him before he hit the desk. Someone get him water, the lead FBI agent said, and a medic if he doesn't come around. Patricia stared at the badge, at the agents surrounding them. Her mouth moved, but no sound came out. Terrence pulled out his phone, connected it to Langford's computer. The large monitor on the wall flickered to life. I'm going to show you something. I want you to watch carefully. The video played, crystal clear, perfect audio. Patricia's voice echoed through the office. Layla Hayes, get back to the scholarship section. Her grabbing Layla's arm, the slap, the shove. Your kind gets in here through quotas, through pity. Every word, every action. Patricia shook her head. That's not— I didn't mean— it's out of context. Out of context? Terrence's voice stayed eerily calm. Which part? The part where you hit my daughter? The part where you called us, you people? The part where you threatened to destroy her future? Langford came to, saw the video, saw himself standing there, doing nothing, then ordering Terrence removed. Oh God, oh my God. Let me tell you what's happening right now, Terrence said. As we speak, your federal funding is being frozen. Patricia gasped. You can't. I can. And I did. He turned to the FBI agent. Agent Morrison, please read them their rights. Wait. Patricia shot to her feet. An agent pushed her back down. Wait, please. I didn't know who you were. If you'd known, you would have what? Treated my daughter like a human being? Only treated her with dignity because her father has power. Terrence leaned forward. That's exactly the problem, Mrs. Hargrove. Agent Morrison stepped forward. Patricia Hargrove, Victor Langford. You're both under arrest for violation of federal civil rights law, Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. You have the right to remain silent. Patricia's face crumpled. Tears started. Real ones now, not righteous anger, pure terror. Please, please. I have grandchildren here. I've worked here for years. I'll lose my pension, my reputation, everything. Terrence thought of Layla's face, her tears, her begging him to leave so she wouldn't get expelled. You should have thought about that before you hurt children. Agent Morrison pulled out handcuffs. The metal clicked around Patricia's wrists, then Langford's. No, please. Not in front of everyone, please. But the agents led them out through the main office, into the hallway where students and teachers watched through windows, past the cafeteria where Layla sat, still frozen, still not understanding, out the front doors where cameras waited, where the world was watching. Patricia Hargrove, handcuffed, crying, destroyed, exactly as she deserved. The FBI vehicle pulled away. Patricia and Langford sat in the back seat, handcuffed, crying. Cameras captured everything. Students pressed against windows, phones recorded. The video would be viral. Terrence stood on the front steps. Deputy Secretary Carla Bennett arrived in a black sedan. She'd driven from D.C. the moment he called. Mr. Secretary, the building is secure. Federal oversight is active. Convene emergency assembly. Everyone inside the cafeteria. Chaos erupted. Teachers couldn't control students. Questions flew. Accusations. Panic. Layla sat frozen in her corner. A young Latina teacher knelt beside her. Miss Ramirez. Honey, is that man really your father? The Secretary of Education? Layla nodded, couldn't speak. Oh God, I should have helped you. I'm so sorry. Other students backed away from Layla's table. The girl they'd mocked now held power. Real power. Federal power. Brooke Hargrove frantically texted her grandmother. No response. Called voicemail. Her hands shook. Her friends whispered, "Your grandma got arrested. We're screwed. Delete your videos. Too late." The FBI had already subpoenaed the school's servers. Every post, every video, every text, all evidence. Now the PA system crackled. All students and staff to the gymnasium immediately. Mandatory assembly. The gym filled. Students, staff members, federal agents lined the walls, silent, professional, intimidating. Terrence entered. Deputy Secretary Bennett beside him. 3 FBI agents followed. Complete silence fell. Terrence walked to center court. No microphone needed. His voice carried. My name is Terrence Hayes, United States Secretary of Education. Layla Hayes' father. Gasps rippled through the crowd. This morning I came to bring my daughter lunch. Instead, I witnessed federal crimes, civil rights violations, child abuse. He connected his phone to the projection system. The video filled the massive screen. Patricia's voice boomed. Scholarship trash doesn't sit at premium tables. The slap, the shove, the cruelty. The footage played. Students watched themselves, their teachers, their administrators, the system they'd normalized. Some cried, some looked away, some vomited. The video ended. Silence crushed the room. Patricia Hargrove and Principal Langford are now in federal custody. They face years in prison for civil rights violations. A girl collapsed. Teachers caught her. Every staff member who witnessed discrimination will be interviewed by the FBI. Every student who participated faces disciplinary action. Every parent who supports this faces questions. Terrence's eyes swept the crowd. This school received federal funding, money that came with legal requirements, equal treatment, equal access, equal dignity. He paused. You violated every single requirement. Your funding is frozen. If we find misappropriation, administrators face fraud charges. If we confirm systematic discrimination, you lose accreditation. This school could close permanently. Teachers sobbed. Careers ending. Reputations destroyed. But first, right now, today, Terrence pointed to Layla. Every student who was segregated and abused will receive a public apology. Deputy Secretary Bennett stepped forward. Students of color who experience discrimination come to center court. Students moved forward slowly. Years of being told to stay back made this surreal. Layla walked with them. All ages, all carrying the same pain. Terrence addressed the crowd. Look at them. These children came here to learn, to grow. You destroyed them daily, systematically. He knelt before Layla. Baby, I'm sorry. Sorry I didn't know. Sorry I didn't see. Sorry I failed to protect you. Layla collapsed into his arms. Months of pain exploded, months of silence, months of shame that was never hers. I've got you now. Nobody will hurt you again. The gymnasium erupted. Not applause, crying, guilt, realization. Terrence stood, addressed the school. Starting today, everything changes. The new administration takes over. Federal monitors will be present daily. Every policy will be reviewed. Every practice examined. He looked at the staff. Those of you who stayed silent, who looked away, who enabled this, you have one chance. Cooperate fully with investigators. Tell the truth. Help us understand how this happened, or face charges as accessories. He looked at the students. Those who participated in harassment, you'll complete mandatory counseling, community service, write formal apologies. Your college applications will include documentation of this incident and your remediation. Finally, he looked at the students standing beside Layla. And these young people, they'll receive full scholarships, counseling support, academic assistance, everything this school should have provided from day one. He turned to leave, stopped, looked back. One more thing. The cafeteria segregation ends today permanently. Anyone who attempts to enforce it answers to the FBI. Terrence took Layla's hand, led her out of the gymnasium, past silent students, past crying teachers, past the system that broke her, into sunlight, into freedom, into justice. The FBI investigation exploded. Agents interviewed people, students, parents, former employees. The stories poured out like a broken dam. Deputy Secretary Bennett sat in FBI headquarters. Files covered every surface. An agent dropped another folder on the stack. Former student? Same abuse? Same Patricia Hargrove? Bennett read the transcript. Her stomach turned. How far back does this go? The Department of Justice assigned lead prosecutor Sandra Williams. She'd handled civil rights cases, never saw evidence this clear. They documented their own crimes. Sandra held up a journal, Patricia's discipline log. Listen to this. She read aloud. Removed 3 diversity students from premium seating today. They need constant reminders of their place. If we don't maintain standards, these people will think they belong everywhere. Her team sat stunned. She wrote it down, dated it, signed it. Internal emails surfaced during discovery. Langford to Patricia. Board asking questions about diversity funding. Keep scholarship students visible in photos but separated in practice. Donors complaining about too much mixing. Patricia's response, understood. Good families shouldn't tolerate integration during lunch. That's what they pay for. A financial audit revealed massive fraud. Crestwood claimed diversity students for federal funding. Actual number far fewer. Where did the money go? Administrator bonuses. Facility upgrades for donor wings. Nothing for students it was meant to serve. New charges filed. Wire fraud. Conspiracy to defraud the United States. False statements to federal agencies. Bail set high. Neither could pay. Federal detention. Patricia's first lawyer quit. I can't defend this. She wrote down her crimes. The second lawyer lasted. Every day, another victim comes forward. We're drowning. The trial began. Federal courthouse, media everywhere, national attention. Families joined as plaintiffs, seeking damages, seeking justice, seeking acknowledgement. First witness, Layla Hayes. She walked to the stand. Taller, stronger, still carrying weight. Prosecutor Sandra Williams approached gently. Layla, tell the jury about your first day at Crestwood. Layla described the excitement. New uniform, hope. Then lunch. Patricia grabbed her arm, being shoved to the corner. Called scholarship trash. I didn't tell my dad because I thought it was my fault. I thought if I worked harder, was quieter, smaller, maybe they'd let me sit with everyone else. Did that work? No. It got worse. Patricia made examples of us, called us out publicly, reminded everyone we didn't belong. Tears streamed down her face. The worst part wasn't the words. It was watching teachers do nothing, watching parents agree, realizing the whole system was built to hurt us. Patricia stared at her lap, wouldn't look up. Layla testified. The jury cried openly. Next witness, Diego Morales. Patricia wouldn't let me use the bathroom during lunch. Said diversity students had designated times. I had to wait. I wet myself. She made me clean it up while everyone watched. He broke down. I transferred schools. I still have nightmares. Students testified. All with similar stories, all traumatized, all scared. Former teacher Ashley Morrison testified. White, I tried to stop it once. Patricia went to Langford. He told me if I wanted to keep my job, I'd remember who paid my salary. The diversity students weren't those people. What did you do? I quit. I've regretted my silence every day since. Terrence testified as an expert witness, explained what segregation does to developing brains, psychological impact, long-term consequences. These children internalize that they're inferior, unworthy, that their existence is a burden. It affects academic performance, mental health, their entire sense of self. He looked at the jury. My daughter told me she wished she could disappear. Stop existing because existing meant taking up space she didn't deserve. That's what Crestwood did to her. The defense called no witnesses. Evidence was overwhelming, undeniable, damning. The jury deliberated, guilty on all counts. Sentencing came. Patricia stood before Judge Martinez, black woman who grew up poor, grew up fighting through a system designed to stop her. Mrs. Hargrove, you targeted vulnerable children who trusted institutions to protect them. You weaponized your position to inflict maximum psychological harm. Pause. Let the words settle. Years in federal prison, no early release. Lifetime ban from working with children. Restitution. Patricia collapsed. Guards caught her. Langford received years restitution, lifetime education ban. Other administrators received probation, careers over, reputations destroyed. Civil case settled from insurance, from Crestwood liquidated assets. But money wasn't the victory. Transformation was. Crestwood fired the entire administration, hired Dr. Jennifer Washington, black woman with years fighting for equity, diversity, real integration, real change. Cafeteria renovated. All premium seating removed. One community space renamed Layla Hayes Justice Hall. Congress passed the Educational Equity and Transparency Act. Journalists called it Layla's Law. Required all private schools receiving federal funds to report demographic data, seating arrangements, discipline rates, resource allocation, everything transparent, monitored. Violations meant immediate funding loss, federal investigation, criminal prosecution. Schools self-reported violations, lost accreditation, closed permanently. The Department of Education created a national hotline. Students reported discrimination anonymously. Trained counselors responded. Federal investigators followed up. The problem was bigger than anyone imagined. Netflix produced a documentary, Lunchroom Justice, The Crestwood Case. Emmy winner required viewing in education programs nationwide. Footage of Patricia's arrest played on loop. Her words, actions collapse. A cautionary tale in high definition. Layla appeared at the end, confident, strong. What happened to me happens to thousands of kids every day. My dad had the power to fight back. Most families don't. That's why Layla's Law matters. It gives everyone that power. The documentary ended with a call to action. Website movement, students across America sharing stories. The silence was breaking finally, completely, permanently. Patricia Hargrove became exactly what she feared most. Not a symbol of standards and excellence, a symbol of shame, of hatred, of everything wrong with institutions that claim inclusion while practicing exclusion. Her name would live forever, but not the way she wanted, as a warning, as a lesson, as proof that justice, though sometimes slow, eventually comes for those who hurt children. Layla Hayes stood in the podium in Crestwood Academy's auditorium. Not the scared girl who ate lunch in corners, a confident young woman who'd changed the world, valedictorian, perfect GPA, Harvard early admission with full scholarship. She looked out at the audience, students, parents, media, her father in the front row. I wanted to disappear. I thought if I could just be smaller, quieter, invisible, maybe the pain would stop. Her voice carried strong, clear, no hesitation. My father came to bring me lunch. Just lunch. A simple surprise. Instead, he discovered I was living in hell. And he had a choice. He could have taken me home, transferred me somewhere else, made the problem go away quietly. She paused. But he didn't. He chose justice, not just for me, for every child suffering in silence. The audience erupted in applause. Layla waited for silence. Patricia Hargrove is in prison. Principal Langford is banned from education forever. The system that protected them is dismantled. Layla's law is changing schools across America. She looked directly at the camera. But the work isn't finished. Discrimination thrives in silence. It dies when we speak, when we document, when we refuse to accept that cruelty is normal. Layla stepped back. Terrence joined her on stage. They stood together. Father and daughter. Warriors. Terrence took the microphone. I came to bring my daughter sandwiches, turkey and Swiss, extra pickles. I left with evidence that destroyed careers, that changed laws, that transformed an institution. His voice softened. But I failed too. Layla suffered before I knew, before I saw. That failure haunts me. He looked at parents in the audience. How well do you know your child's daily reality? Not what they tell you, what they actually experience. The humiliations they hide, the pain they carry, the dignity they sacrifice to protect you from worry. Silence, heavy, uncomfortable, true. Go to their school unannounced. Eat lunch with them. Watch how adults treat them. Watch how other students treat them. Don't trust brochures. Don't trust promises. Trust your eyes. Terrence held up his phone. This device recorded footage that changed everything. That's all justice needed. He pointed at the audience. You have that power too. Document, record, report. The national hotline is there. Anonymous, confidential, action guaranteed. Layla returned to the microphone. Crestwood is different now. Dr. Washington transformed this place. The cafeteria that broke me is now named for me. The corner where I cried is gone. Everyone sits together. Everyone belongs. She smiled. Genuine, radiant. I love this school now. That's the proof. The girl who wanted to disappear now stands here proud. That's what real change looks like. The auditorium stood. Applause thundered. Phones recorded. This moment would go viral. Was already going viral. Terrence and Layla walked off stage together. Past the spot where Patricia once stood. Past the office where Langford made his calls. Past the cafeteria entrance where everything changed. Outside, news crews waited. Terrence gave a final statement. I witnessed injustice that left me speechless. Today, I'm not speechless anymore. None of us should be. When you see wrong, speak. When you see cruelty, act. When you see children suffering, become the adult they need. He squeezed Layla's hand. My daughter taught me that she survived. She thrived. She transformed her pain into power. Every child deserves that chance. The cameras captured it all. This would play on every news channel, every social media platform. The story that wouldn't die because it shouldn't die because Thousands of children still needed rescue, still needed adults who wouldn't look away. Terrence and Layla drove away from Crestwood, the school where her nightmare began, where justice prevailed, where hope rebuilt itself from ashes. Layla looked at her father. "Dad, do you think we really change things?" "Yes, but not enough. Not yet." Then we keep going. We keep going. The car disappeared down the road toward whatever came next. Toward more fights, more victories, more children saved. Because one lunch visit changed everything. One father who refused to stay silent. One daughter who refused to stay invisible. One moment of courage that shattered decades of cruelty. Now it's your turn. Share this story. Let it spark conversations. Let it make people uncomfortable. Let it force examination. Subscribe to Blacktail Stories for more stories where justice wins, where the powerless gain power, where wrongs are righted. Follow the movement, join the fight. Be the witness who doesn't look away. Most importantly, answer these questions honestly. Where are the Patricia Hargroves in your community? What segregation exists that everyone pretends not to see? When you witness injustice against a child, what will you do? Will you look away and let it continue? Or will you be the person who changes everything? Your answer matters. Your choice matters. Your courage matters. Because somewhere right now, a child is sitting in a corner, eating lunch alone, believing they deserve it. What will you do about it?